Well, good morning, everyone. Hi, welcome back to the channel. It is early. It is, I think, just shortly after 7 here in Colchester. I'm sitting in my living room. Meghan, the faithful fibromyalgia warrior here. Now, I'm whispering for two reasons. One, everybody else in the house is sick. Everyone else in the house is sleeping. But also, two, I'm sick, so my throat is still sore. In fact, it's really sore. Um, but I wanted to make this video because, you know, I'm so thankful for all the good things in my life that having a bad cold, um, okay, it happens, and I'm still gonna be all right. And the reason why I say that is because, just because someone follows a low carb keto carnivore diet does not mean that they're not going to get sick. And anybody who promises or guarantees that you'll never get sick if you go keto or carnivore or you follow their meal plan or take their supplements, don't believe it. They can't promise that. Nobody can. Some people are really lucky and they have a super, super high immune system. But these are people who are probably not needing to follow a low carb, keto, or carnivore diet. Because if their immune system is healthy, then that would indicate the rest of them is probably pretty healthy, whether that's because they exercise and perhaps follow one of these three ways of eating, whether it's low carb, keto, or carnivore. They may not even know enough to call it that. But if they've got a pretty healthy immune system, if they really don't ever get sick, then okay, great. And actually, there are people like that. Like my father, when I was growing up, I think I can remember twice when he caught a virus of some kind, and probably from either myself or one of my siblings, that got him feeling so unwell. I remember him taking cough medicine and sleeping, being at home one day to sleep. Other than that, the man never got sick. He really didn't ever get sick. Okay. I mean, I'm talking like viruses. Bacterial things are different, obviously. Yeah, but talking viruses, yeah, definitely. He almost never got sick. Okay. But then there are those of us who do not have a good immune system, who, because we have autoimmune conditions, chronic health issues, including chronic pain and, gut issues, all of those things work together. And if those are not healed and healthy, then we have no chance of fighting off viruses as they come around. I used to catch everything. I had so many ear and throat infections as a kid. I got my tonsils out when I think I was about 5, when my tonsils were taken out. And that helped. That made quite a big difference. Does not mean I've never had an ear infection since. I have. And I have had bronchitis multiple times since then, both both bacterial bronchial chest infections and viral upper respiratory infections. But I tell you what, ever since I have been following, well, I don't like to put myself in a specific box, somewhere between keto and carnivore, mostly carnivore. I tell you what, I have had very few infections. I have had very few viruses. In December 2019, my husband and both our sons had respiratory chest infections, and I had one too, but mine seemed to go fairly quickly, and it lasted maybe a week or so after the antibiotics kicked in, whereas my poor husband's lasted several weeks. So what I'm saying is, what is my point? My point is that anybody who tries to promise you that if you follow their specific plan, or, you buy their supplements and whatever, you'll never get sick again. Don't believe it. That is not something they can promise you. And as we have seen with COVID, people can have a virus and not even have symptoms. I got COVID October last year. I was completely asymptomatic. I had absolutely zero symptoms, felt totally fine. If I hadn't been testing, I never would have known I had it. And yet I did. So just as I would say, like if I had not had my vaccinations, then I probably would have had worse symptoms. And other than testing positive for 7 days, it probably would have lasted longer. Why do I share all this? I guess because I wanted to let you guys know I haven't gone anywhere. I'm still here. And please, those of you who have been reaching out through email, through comments, and so on, please keep doing that, because I love hearing from you guys, even if I'm unwell. But it's crazy, there are those who would say that being carnivore or even keto will cure every single illness and disease. No, it won't. But it is a lot easier to recover and fight through different illnesses and diseases if we give our immune system a fighting chance, right? So that's what I've been finding out. I made my meatball and egg drop soup the other day, and I had some leftovers yesterday at lunch, and oh my goodness, I had a burst of energy. Throat was still really sore and so forth, all the other symptoms that go with a really bad cold. But you know what? Mentally speaking, I felt my brain was being nourished. I felt the rest of my body was nourished, and it was awesome. It made a huge difference. So if you are feeling like garbage, like I kind of am, I may not look like it, but I am, that's okay. I just realized that I would have felt so much worse if I was still a processed food and carb eater. I really would have. And thinking back to what I was eating the last time I had a bad cold and a chest infection, felt so much worse. My joint pain was so much worse. I was full of inflammation. I was easily, maybe not 80 pounds overweight, but I was at least carrying an extra 40. And that was bad to start with. And then I got sick. And then I felt like garbage for about 2.5 weeks. I don't know. I guess I figured it's kind of like anybody who tells you that if you're a Christian, all your troubles will go away. No, they won't. Jesus never promised us that. God never promised us that. There will be challenges. There will be tough times. Not that I ask for them, but you know what? We don't have to. They have a way of finding us and happening. But that's okay. Because how else are we going to learn to trust God and rely on Him if we don't get a bit of a challenge in our life? Whether it's a bad cold, a sore throat, whether it's a really bad chest infection, whether it's COVID with really bad symptoms, or something else entirely. Maybe it's a an unexpected death in the family. Maybe it's a medical emergency of a loved one having to go into hospital, or a horrible diagnosis. Maybe it's estrangement between children and parents. I don't know. Lots of things can happen. But that doesn't mean that, we should stop being Christians. That doesn't mean God's not there loving us and wanting us to still obey and follow and believe in him. It's so crazy. We as humans want everything to go perfectly and for there to never be any challenge of any kind. Of course not, because it's uncomfortable. But how are we ever going to learn to have character? How are we ever going to learn what it means to tough things out, to have true, honest faith, if we never get challenged, right? So anybody who tells you, oh, well, if you're a Christian, then you'll be at peace and everything will be awesome. The thing is, things are awesome. I realized things are awesome even though I'm sick, even though I'm achy and feeling like garbage. And I'm not saying that to lord it over anybody else who is feeling like garbage today. Please, please don't hear that. I hope you don't hear that. All I'm saying is this will not last forever. This too will pass. And God is still amazing. Okay, so I have a bad cold and I don't feel awesome. And it sucks. It does. But things could be a lot worse. My life is still incredible in spite of my immediate circumstances. How amazing that is. And I guess that's why I wanted to make this video this morning. It's just, if you're feeling, and I know that my words are just words, and maybe they don't help in any way, but if you're feeling, for example, if you are recovering from an eating disorder or disordered eating, and you're trying to find your way back to that peace, please hear me when I say this. I don't have it figured out, and every day I have to choose that I will allow myself to eat good, healthy food the way God intended, that being animal products, and that I will allow myself to heal and be nourished and not weigh myself every day and not freak out if my weight fluctuates. Because for one, I'm 50, I'm starting into menopause, but I'm still having a cycle, even if it's irregular. Therefore, my hormones are still like, woo, up and down and all over the place. And weight will go up and down. I'm sick, which means my weight will go up and down. I've learned that when I am unwell, when I get sick, I tend to hold on to water weight. Don't know why, but there you have it. And I'm repeatedly telling myself in my head, whatever the scale says, ignore it. My clothes all fit. That's what matters. Ignore the scale. Okay? Because I get triggered. That's me. And I'm sure that I am not the only one. And I just want to say that I am not trying to promise you, hey, do what I do and all your troubles will go away. Of course I can't. I can't make that promise. I can only say that this could help you. That eating garbage, especially if you're sick, might make you feel good for about 5 minutes or however long it takes you to eat that bit of mashed potatoes and gravy or that bit of ice cream. But it's not worth it in the end. It's not. It is not worth it. I promise it's not worth it. And so that's all I wanted to say, is that if you go low carb, which from what I understand, low carb is anything under 100 total grams of carbs per day, with the understanding that the person consuming that many carbs is also exercising either intensely or pretty intensely on a like on a daily basis, but training at the gym for doing CrossFit or what have you, and so they can tolerate higher levels of carbs, okay, as opposed to the 200 or 300 grams we would probably consume on a standard North American slash UK and European diet, right? Low carb, um, under 100 grams. I mean, ideally under 50, but it depends if you're a dude, as I say, if you exercise or not. If you, even that, even getting rid of all the sugars and the processed crap and seed oils, that alone, you'll start to feel better. Doesn't mean you'll never be sick, but you're giving your immune system a fighting chance. And so if you do get sick, hopefully it'll be a lot less severe symptom wise and not last as long, right? If you're keto, which ideally would be 20 grams total per day or less, okay? Again, sometimes men can take up to 50 grams of total carbs, but I would say that probably depends on the age of the guy, whether they are doing like serious weightlifting and training and things like CrossFit on a daily basis. Then yeah, you could probably get away with 50 grams of carbs if you're choosing to do keto, right? Which would also allow for full fat dairy, limited amounts if you can tolerate it, and a couple of cups of non-starchy vegetables if you like them, if you tolerate them, and if you can do okay with them. And maybe some berries here or there if you're going to do any kind of fruit, low carb fruit like berries, right? That's keto. Ketovore is basically a hybrid, right? For those who don't know. So it's taking keto and carnivore and kind of combining it. So you're still eating almost entirely, you're eating 90% animal products. Okay. You may be doing 10 total grams of carbs per day. So really like maybe you make up a keto version of chili. So there's no beans, but maybe put in a little bit of tomato, a little bit of onion, and seasoning. And that would be, your 10 total grams of carbs per day. If you choose to eat something like that, you don't have to. But again, you can also enjoy limited amounts, very, very limited amounts of full fat dairy, extremely limited amounts of non-starchy veg, which would be like, say, a slice of tomato chopped up if you're making chili with a little bit of onion, or maybe a bit of jalapeno pepper, something super duper non-starchy, very low carb vegetables, for an example. That's ketovore. And then carnivore, well, should be self-explanatory, but you basically, as far as eating, you eat animal products. So that would be eggs with the yolk, and that would include dairy. I would say limited amounts. Now there are those who say that means that's not carnivore, that you have to eat only steak. Not true. It's animal products. Anything that swam, ran, slithered, or flew qualifies. Okay? Because it's from the animal kingdom, and God made those creatures specifically for us to eat. So whether you want to have a ribeye or you want to have 20% fat ground beef, full-on eggs with the yolk or just the yolks, go for it. If you want to have bacon, eggs, pork belly, enjoy. I'd say eat the meat that comes with the fat. So things like pork chops could, if it has the fat around the edges, well, that's great. While it's cooking, excellent. But be careful, because things like pork loin are extremely lean. That's why it's considered the other white meat outside of poultry. So you want to get the fat in. You want the protein and the fat, because the fat fills you up, right? But however you decide to do it, whether you have black coffee, whether you have decaf, whether you prefer black tea or decaf black tea, whether you prefer coffee with cream occasionally or a bit of full fat milk, that's up to you. Whatever works for you, do it. And I would say, as a proviso, you probably want to not only obviously avoid all desserts, because, spiking the insulin and stuff like that, but for the most part, you may want to avoid anything that's even remotely sweet tasting if the sweetness has you craving more of it. I've made carnivore French toast, and I make carnivore brownies, and yes, they are carnivore items. Thank you again, Rebecca Heichman from Tailored Keto Health. However, I would make these items as a rare special treat if you can moderate, or if you have somebody who wants to try being low carb or eventually work into keto carnivore, but they're having a hard time with a sugar addiction. Ease them in slowly with things that, by the way, the stuff I'm talking about is made with flavored beef isolate protein powder, whole eggs, a little bit of some erythritol sweetener, because we can't get allulose over here, and or some baking allspice, which is, was it coriander, nutmeg, cinnamon? Okay, very, very small amounts. I know, oxalates and whatever. But anyways, sorry to veer off. But I've tried these things. I thought they turned out amazing. But I also know that I could easily keep eating more and more of it because of this slight sweet taste. So Christmas morning, I'm going to prep ahead, and I will be making my carnivore French toast for my husband and I, and our son if he wants to try it. Otherwise, I might just do regular French toast for him. But the point being, every once in a while, as a treat, to moderate, amazing. Why not, right? And, Maria Emmerich has a great, incredible egg white bread recipe. Now, I'm probably going to modify her recipe a little bit and not try to make it look like a loaf of bread, but I'll bake it in my baking sheet, cut it into pieces, use that to make a few sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches or whatever for my son. My point is this. What was my point? Sorry, I veered off a little bit. I guess what my point is that there's a richness in life, and that comes from God and the food he provides for us, without question. And just because I am finding ways to enjoy being carnivore, to make it sustainable, which is great, and help my son and husband transition over, which is even better, just because that's there, that does not mean that they're not going to get sick with illness. And that does not mean that God is not going to challenge us with testing in our lives. Doesn't mean that at all. Just because I find a recipe to make a really great carnivore bread, or just carnivore meal, or keto or ketovore, whatever, that's great, and they enjoy it, and it will eventually help them boost their immunity, of course, as well as keep their weight healthy, keep their blood sugars and glucose and insulin levels stable. Fantastic. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to catch a cold or a flu at this time of year. And even if that happens, I'm not going to suddenly feed them crappy food and garbage, because that's just going to prolong the situation, right? And yeah, I guess I just wanted to say, listen, we all typically get sick at some point, but I am so glad that as rough as I feel, hey man, I have God on my side. He has not left me. He's not abandoned me at all. And which is awesome, of course. Is he punishing me? No. There's a virus going around and I caught it. That's how it happens. That's also how we learn to build immunity in our bodies, is when we do catch a virus, our bodies then have to learn to fight back, to build antibodies, to help our bodies recover. That's how we were made. And so I'm glad that because my autoimmune condition is under control, because I have been carnivore, carnivore, or ketovore, whatever you want to say, because I've been eating the proper God-given diet for the last couple of years, my immunity is much better than it would have been. And so I know with confidence that probably a few more days, the virus should work itself through my body and be gone. And who knows, I might get another one or a couple more. But I'll be okay, right? Just like as a kid, we would catch all kinds of stuff at school, and yet we survived. Our immune systems had to learn how to kick in, right? And the other bit I realized is that as my immune system is working to fight off this, whatever this is, this cold, whatever, it's not the flu, I don't feel sick that way, to fight off this cold, the Holy Spirit is working to help me build my spiritual immunity to challenges so that God can refine me and help me to be strengthened in my faith, in my convictions, and remain joyful regardless of what's going on around me. And that's pretty great, because if God was never testing me, that means he doesn't believe that I could be strong enough through faith and prayer and following him to endure. So if he's allowing me to be tested, means he has confidence that I can get through it. Wow, I just realized that. That's so amazing. Anyway, sorry guys, a bit of a ramble, but I don't know. I was inspired this morning to make this video and share it with you guys. I would imagine some of you could be dealing with colds and flus right now as well, because it's that time of the year, in which case I hope that you are feeling better soon. I hope that the symptoms are not too severe, that they don't last too long. Make plenty of good healthy soup if you can, and drink that. I have a video on my egg drop soup, and actually I got the recipe from Steak and Butter Gal, Bella Ma, and if my instructions aren't that awesome, that's not a problem. Check her out. Great recipe, so hearty and healthy and warming, and you'll feel amazing in no time, I promise. But that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for all your support and love, and I hope that I will have a voice still in a few days, and I will hopefully be able to make some more content. Thank you guys for all of your support, and my prayers and my heart go out to you. If you haven't subscribed yet, hopefully you will. It'd be great. Join the group. Let's build family, right? That's the whole reason why I make these videos, just to, if somehow I can be encouraging or helpful in some way, it's well worth it. Anyways, guys, as always, feel free to share this video with anybody you want, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks again for all your support. And for those of you who are suffering with a really bad cold or virus or chest infection of some sort, I really hope that you heal quickly and that, you'll be able to bounce, if you get more this season, that you'll be able to bounce back even quicker, and that hopefully eating a low carb, mostly meat, perhaps ketovore or carnivore diet will be of some benefit to you. Thank you guys. I love you. Appreciate everything that you do by supporting me. I'll see you next time. Bye.